What's up guys, this is Carlo Choo, and my unit is quite messy today because I'm packing my stuff because I'm going back to Cebu. I'm leaving Manila and I am really in the middle of a lot of packing because I'm really confused of what things I should be going home with, although I already shipped a lot of my stuff back in Cebu. Last month, I think I shipped 3 boxes already, so I'm still in the middle of thinking what stuff that I'm going to ship again. So right now, this video would be why I left Manila and why I am going back to Cebu. Obviously, the title would be why I left Manila because obviously this video will be posted after I am already in Cebu. So that's it. So why I am moving back to Cebu, why I am leaving Manila, and this video is going to be a 2-part video. Not really 2-part. I'm going to film this video twice, one in Manila and one in Cebu. One thing I'm going to say is that the first part would be about why I ended up here in Manila and my experiences during the quarantine, because I really love to just share a bit of the story why I ended up here. And the second part would be the real reasons why I'm moving back to Cebu, or I moved back to Cebu. So, hi guys. So, yes, as you can see in my bag, the pillows that I have for, I accumulated a lot of stuff despite practicing so-called decluttering or minimalism. I am not really a minimalist, so it's quite funny, although I do apply it in some parts of my life, but yes, I have to admit that I'm going to have a hard time practicing minimalism. So why I ended up here in Manila? First and foremost, I would like to tell you a story why I decided to move here in Manila at first. So back then in 2017, my brother passed the 2016 board exam, and obviously the oath-taking and assigning the roles was held here in Manila. So that's where me and my mom accompanied him during that time. So during my stay here in Manila, I really enjoyed the place. Although it was my second time already being here in Manila. The first one is in 2009. That was after Noy. And after that, years have passed since 2009. And I still feel that, comfort, and I really enjoy the place. So I decided that I will be taking my review here in Manila. And I also was planning to work in Manila as a lawyer if ever I passed the bar exam, which I ultimately did. So fast forward in 2018, me and my sister graduated to law and we took the bar exam at the same year. So at the time, I really enjoyed it. I stayed at Sampaloc and I used the LRT to go to a lot of places, and it was probably one of the best times of my life. I would consider it. I really enjoyed my stay here in Manila, and obviously after the bar exam, I had to go back home. So I went back to Cebu. So again, in April 2019, I passed the 2018 bar exam, so I had to go here in June 2019 for my signing of the roles and oath-taking. I did not really enjoy my signing of the roles and oath-taking at the time. I don't know why, but that was also the time when I had the opportunity to work here in Manila. So obviously by August 2019 at the time, I went back here in Manila because we were supporting my sister's bar review again. And I saw a posting in the 2nd Division Supreme Court of a vacancy for Casual Court 22. And I feel like my prayers were heard because I was still working as a court 3 back in the Municipal Trial Court in Cebu City, OCC. So I decided to grab that opportunity, so I took the exam. At the same day, I saw the posting and send my application, resume, and my PDS. So everything was just so blurred and fast at the time. I was really scared. I don't know if I was the one who was chosen. Ultimately, in September 2019, that year, I was called by the phone and I was asked to submit my PDS and other stuff. So I actually felt like I was already getting a job. So by October, I had my medical examination here in Manila and we were looking someplace. It was really an uphill battle for me at that time because obviously one of my biggest dreams is to work in the Supreme Court. And I was also a court employee, but in the lower court, so it was really something spectacular and big for me to jump from the lower court to the highest court in the land. I don't see anything wrong with the lower court, but obviously the Supreme Court is the highest, so there's something to see. So it was an uphill battle. I was really for myself. I got a job and I had to leave Cebu. My family's and friends to move here in Manila to work. So I moved here in Manila in October 2019. Although I was excited at the same time scared, I was going to try something new. So leaving Cebu to Manila is something really a life-changing event, and that is going to really challenge me in my independence and everything. So when I was here in Manila, to be honest, I really enjoyed staying here. And so flash forward again, so the COVID-19 pandemic happened. So back in January 2020, news about a new virus that spread in China and in Europe is flooding the internet, and I was really scared. And at the same time, since the virus wasn't here in the Philippines yet, so it wasn't really something that scared us. By February in 2020, I decided to visit Cebu, which made me very happy, but it was a very short visit, so I had to move back in Manila until March 2020, where the government decided to employ quarantine measures, ECQ, which is basically just a lockdown. It was really scary at the time. I was stuck here in Manila alone without a family. I was scared. I don't know what to do. I am very anxious of what would happen to me during that time because obviously the virus was still very new and we don't really know any information. The information regarding the virus was not as extensive as it is now. So I was really scared and everything about it really made me feel so isolated. So by November 2020, I told my mom that I was planning to move back in Cebu because I am really having difficulty managing being alone. And at the same time, I feel like the quarantine really pushed me to the edge. And so that's when someone advised me against it. So I ultimately decided to stay for another year and hoping that my homesickness and my feeling of isolation would go away, which obviously did not go away. That's why I'm making this video. So in December 2020 that year, my sister and my brother visited me, so I had a vlog with that. They visited me. I was really happy at the time because for the first time I felt genuinely happy because there is someone around with me, and obviously they had to go home because they had a job in Cebu and they're living their life in Cebu. So I was alone again until someone suggested me to go home for Christmas. So that's where I decided to go home and spend the holidays in Cebu. It was really a roller coaster ride because the quarantine measures were very strict at the time. There were so many requirements and I had to get all of them. So it was really a roller coaster ride for me, but I was able to manage to get the requirements and went home. I was really happy at the time, and to be honest, it was probably one of the greatest moments in my life. Fighting for something that you really want, and I was able to get it. But obviously, my time in Cebu is cut short because I had to move back here in Manila. So by January 3, 2021, I boarded the plane with a heavy heart. I was very homesick and I thought that I could get over it, but I did not. So I asked my friend for advice and she advised me to go back home in Cebu. And that's when I initially decided to go back home in Cebu. But my sister applied for a job in Manila and I waited for the results. She was accepted, but she declined the offer. That's when I thought of it as a sign that I should go back home here in Cebu. And by August 2021, I finally decided and told my mom that I'm moving back home. So by September, I was preparing to tell them that I'm moving back home, but it was a failure because I got sick and I was put into quarantine. And I also don't want them to think that the reason why I decided to go back home was because I got sick. But things happened and I couldn't control it. But by September 30, I took the courage to tell my boss that I'm moving back home and I will be resigning at the end of the year. It was a very difficult decision for me. Quitting my job was a difficult decision because my job at the Supreme Court was something that I worked hard for and I couldn't give it up. But there are things that happened, like I was very homesick and I felt so isolated in Manila that it really also made my decision to go back home. And at the same time, I feel like I reached a plateau and I think I have to grow. So I have to get out of my comfort zone because the judiciary was like my safety net. And I feel like I also have to challenge myself to learn new things that also contributed my decision to go back home. Obviously, working at the highest court of the land was really my job and I really like it. And I felt so proud of that achievement. And it's something that I really work hard for and it's not easy to give up. And obviously, quitting is never easy. I mean, people always say that quitters are losers, but that doesn't necessarily is the case always. I think sometimes you quit because you have to do things or you have to learn. I think that I quitted my job because I think I have a lot of things to learn from. And obviously I feel bad about it because that's something I really work hard for, but I think that I'm actually in a place where I still have a lot of things to learn. I think I'm on my metamorphosis stage that in some ways I will blossom to become a better person. And obviously saying goodbye to my friends in Manila was really also difficult because it's something that I developed strong friendship with people, and being alone, they are the ones that I confided with a lot of things. And having that support system in Manila also helped me a lot, and I really appreciate the friendship with them. But sometimes it's not about the friendship. I think I just reached a time where I have to go and I have to move forward in my life. And sometimes, although it pains me to recall everything that had happened to me in the last few months, including the time when I was in Manila, where I really enjoyed my job, I think it really also helped me to understand what I want in life and what I need. And also for the fact that I felt so pressured at that time and I feel like I was going too fast in my life and I think I need to slow down. And I feel like it's like a machine where you push yourself too hard and what you need to do is to fix yourself. And what I think I'm actually doing now is fixing myself in order to become a better person, because I feel like I was really pressured for a lot of time and I am the type of person who always do things quickly, and I feel like I need to take things slow, and I feel like this period and this era is me taking things slow. The lesson that I learned when I moved to Manila is independence. I think when I was in Manila, I was very independent. I knew how to cook, I knew how to pay my bills, I knew how to do things on my own, and I even went to other government agencies so that I could get a lot of, clearances and such when I was actually going back home in 2020 for Christmas vacation. It was actually a very difficult moment in my life, but it was actually very fun because I learned how to do things on my own and going to other government agencies without the help of anyone, without you knowing who to ask help for. It was difficult. I just asked my friend how did she got her travel authority, and she told me to go to the barangay, and that was all. So I asked for the requirements and I complied with all of them. It was such a very difficult moment in my life. I knew how to manage my time better when I was in Manila. I actually know how to do things like, for example, there are actually trials or there are actually commitments that I have to do, and that's when I have to do it myself because I am all alone. Although I have relatives in Manila, they also have their own lives, and you have to understand that Manila is enormous. You can't just rely on your relatives even if they are in Manila. You have to do things on your own, and that's one thing that I really learned when I was in Manila. It's something that I'm actually very proud of. Like, it's the capital city and it's not necessarily very safe or like a walk in a park. I would say it's cutthroat, so fast, everything is a bliss. So when I moved back here in Cebu, I think the whole vibes changed because Cebu is quite laid back compared to Manila, and Manila is always fast, and there are times where it's so hard to keep up, but you have to keep up because you're living there. And I think that's also the one thing that I really missed in Manila. I also have to say that one thing that I actually learned is that there are things that you have to give up because you want to grow, and not everything is about safe choices, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to take risks, and for me right now, I'm actually taking risks. I even actually tried to go back to Manila, but there are things that happen in my life that made me decide to not go back. I think that's something that I've learned throughout the experience, that there are things that are not worth fighting for, and there are things that you have to give up even though if you like it so much, so that you can grow. And for this past few months, everything has been a roller coaster for me because obviously in my 2 years stuck in Manila, especially during the pandemic, so I wasn't able to keep in touch with a lot of friends from Cebu. I think that I had molded myself to become a person from Manila. So I feel like some of the things that I actually do are things that Manilans do. I was stuck there, so the only people that I actually encountered with are people who live in Manila because it was pandemic. And obviously you're going to really adapt, especially that you are actually stuck there. During the pandemic, it's so hard to just move around. So I think that I became quite accustomed to the things in Manila, and when I came back here, it's something that really shocked me sometimes. There are things that people do here in Cebu that people in Manila don't do. So there's a very different culture. That's also one thing that I learned is that I think I have to readjust myself back here in Cebu because obviously I'm actually in Cebu now, and there are a lot of things that I have to learn. But also the good things that I learned in Manila is something that I should also keep, because obviously as a person you actually grew, and there are things that you learn from other people's culture, or you have learned things in other places that you really have to adapt on yourself, because as a person it's always our duty to become a better version of ourselves. And when there are things that you think that are good in this place, and I think you should also keep that one. So I'm going to keep the good things or the good values that I learned in Manila and actually mix it with the good values that I learned here in Cebu. As a person, I've also like to tell people that we have to really go out of the comfort zone for them to grow. And this whole month since I moved back from Manila, I think I've learned a lot of things about myself, things that matters to me, things that don't matter, and things that I have to change on myself. I've always been a person who always liked things to go fast. What I've learned in the last few years is that there are times that you have to take things slow, and I think that learning such would help me in my future decisions. I feel like I'm ready to take new challenges already. Although I am ready, I also know that I have to take things slow so that I wouldn't feel the shock or the burnout. Because there are things that takes time so that the foundation is actually very good. And I think what I'm actually doing now is that I'm actually building up stronger foundation. After changing my job in Manila, I feel so lost, obviously, because I feel like I was actually the judiciary guy. I've been in the lower court and I've been to the highest court. I was really lost when I quit the judiciary because obviously I've been really accustomed with how the judiciary works. So something that I really enjoyed. The judiciary world is actually very different even to other government agencies, and the experience in judiciary is also different. I think it's very secured. It's also very contained in itself. Like everything that happens in the judiciary is usually judiciary stuff, and the people outside of it usually can't relate. And I think that when I went outside of judiciary, I think I was actually very lost because I didn't know how to do things, because obviously I was in the judiciary for 6 years and I was really into it. You know what I mean? And when I went out and to learn a lot of things, but I think it's also growth, to be honest. I mean, I'm actually growing as a person because obviously I'm learning a lot of things. But if you work several years in a place and you just move out of something, it would really shock you that things work differently outside. For me, I am still not over learning things. So obviously I have to learn a lot of things. And I'm very excited for this journey of me to become a better person. Although I experienced a lot of setbacks in this period, I think that my current job is actually helping me to become a better person and to relearn things. Although there are a lot of things that happened to me in the past few months, I have to learn how to stand up again. And what I'm doing now is me standing up again. And I don't know what this thing would lead me. I'm pretty sure this would lead me to a better place. And I know that someday and somehow I would be in a better place. Hello, thank you for watching this video. And I think this video took a lot of time to produce. Actually, I decided that I'm going to film this video after I went back from Manila, but there are so many things that happened to me and I did not have the courage to make this video. But right now, I actually made this video because I am actually ready to tell my story. And also that I really want to finish this video because I actually feel like I'm actually entering a new portion in my life. And I would like to end the chapter of my moving back home. So I think this feels like the right moment. But I'm going to do a lot of videos regarding life story because I feel like this type of videos are comforting. I really watch videos that talks about the things that happen in their lives, and I think that although this video came in as a positive video, but there are things that happened in my life in the past few months that really shape or reshape my opinions, and I have to change some of the things that I have written for this video actually. So thank you for watching this video, and one thing that I would like to say to you is that giving up a dream to grow is remarkable, and independence is really a good thing in your life. You have to be independent in the sense that you have to know how to do things on your own. One thing that I've learned from the whole thing that happened in my life is that one, and I know that I am actually closing a chapter in my life, and sometimes I feel emotional thinking about it. I think this is the time that I have to start a new chapter, and I feel like I'm blossoming to become a better person. Some kind of a lotus thing. And thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I would like to see you in my next video. Bye bye!